Prasanna. I'm a theatre person. I would be speaking to you about generally about the future of theatre, especially in the context of COVID crisis. You see, theatre is outputted in two ways. One is as live performance and as machine-made entertainment. I've deliberately called it the machine-made entertainment. It includes cinema, it includes television, it includes all the digital medium. So far, we have managed both with some difficulty, but we have managed. Especially actors have managed to navigate between the two in a way. You know, they try to earn their living through the machine-made entertainment while they crave to come back to theatre. Some of them actually come back to theatre, but generally they have managed. As a result of this duality that we have created, the theatre as live performance has suffered, especially in small towns, in villages and like that. But in big cities, it has been kept alive mainly because it helps the machine-made entertainment. In places like Bombay, in places like Delhi, even to an extent in places like Bangalore, it is kept alive through a lot of funding from government, from private sector and things like that. This is what is today. But then the crisis seems to have blown. COVID is just one aspect of that crisis. I think humanity is facing a very deep crisis, which is a complete crisis, a moral crisis, material crisis, market crisis, and various other things. So we are seriously rethinking as to where have we gone wrong. We all, I think, somewhere deep within realize that we have gone wrong, but we don't know how to correct it. In this context, I am going to speak about the post-COVID situation. The post-COVID situation looks like either the live performance is going to completely die. A lot of people have that apprehension that it may just die off, because for at least a year more, most actors think that they will not be able to perform or even go near a theatre hall. But this is one side of the story. The other side is that when you look at it from the other side, you feel that maybe this is the time to actually revive live theatre. I would go to the extent of saying that not only should we try to revive live theatre, but use live theatre as an instrument to correct the ills of the society. You may be thinking that I am talking too ambitious. No, I am not talking too ambitious. You see, we should realize that theatre is a game that was constructed the earliest. Theatre is a game that was constructed the earliest by the human being with God. It's very interesting that God and theatre were constructed together. It was the same ritual which became theatre later and the institution of God later. So when you look at this phenomena, you ask a question. why did we start this institution or the game? Then you understand that this game has almost the same responsibility as we have given to God or to the institution of religion. And I would go to the extent of saying that this game can handle that responsibility better than most organized religion today. Most organized religion today has become extremely puritanical and unable to respond to the people's actual social problems. Organized religion or institutional religion is unable to do that. While theatre can, because of a strange quality, a strength that theatre has, I call that the duality of theatre. It is the duality of theatre that actually makes it strong for tomorrow's post-COVID situation. What is this duality? Theatre is a game that teaches you how to handle reality, and it is a game that also teaches you how to handle the magic. An actor is on stage. The actor is handling the stage, the prop, the set, the costume, and the co-actors. But the same actor has also become a magical character. It's very interesting. The audience know that it is just a stage, know that it is just an actor, and yet they are completely drawn to the magic, and they say, wow, this is Rama, this is Krishna, or this is Jesus, or this is something magical. You see, this ability of theatre to be both in reality and in magic is what is its strength, I think. This strength was amply used, rather misused, by the machine-made entertainment. I'm saying misused because they used it very well, but used it to make profit, to sell commodities. The moment you sell commodities using either God or music or theatre, they get killed. I mean, their core, their Atma get killed. While live theatre, if we revive it and if we keep it live and if we do more about it, I think it can be used as an instrument for rectifying the ills of the society. Now, I want to talk about a few things that an actor handles during rehearsals, because that's the main thing. You see, unlike the machine-made entertainment, which is completely product-driven, theatre is process-driven. I mean, the process of doing the play, the process of doing the rehearsals, the discipline of meeting every day for about 2 months, the discipline of building a trust between actors and actresses, a process of mutually helping each other. All these things actually are more important in theatre than in the machine-made entertainment. And if you look at the society today, it is precisely these things that are missing in society. A great leader, a prime minister or a chief minister or whatever, or a guru, can come 2 hours late to a program and get away with it. A leader who talks of equality, of socialism, of various things, can get away with coming in an Innova car and addressing people who, let alone have a Innova car, they don't even have the money to go back in a red bus. You see, that is the situation today. The dichotomy between what we say here and what we do here, it has become so enormous that is what has created all the crises, I think, including the COVID crisis. This is what has created the huge environmental crisis. This is what has, made the earth so warm that we may not even live for long, and all that. Theatre, another amazing thing about theatre which actors realize is that theatre always reuses things. If you look at our sets, if you look at our properties, they are all reused. We don't waste material. At least we did not use waste material. Even today in folk theatre, actors, in fact, don't even create a set. They don't need a set. They don't need a huge space. They don't need a Kamani theatre or a NCPA theatre or a Rangashankara theatre for them to perform. They just need about 9 feet by 9 feet space on which they can perform. And what is amazing is, with that little space, they will do all the grandeur on the body of the actor. It is the actor who is made colorful. It is the actor who is made sparkling, grand, tall, big. And this they achieve actually by collecting material from a 5 kilometer distance. Dr. Shivaram Karan, this Kannada writer who did a lot of work with Yakshagana, has actually written that everything that was used earlier in Yakshagana was available in a radius of 5 kilometers. He's also said that every shape that is there in Yakshagana belongs to either a flora or a fauna that is from that area. It was so connected with the community. Theatre is community. Theatre is performed for the community. Theatre is performed by the community. Today I act, tomorrow you act, and if I commit a mistake while I act, you will chastise me, and similarly I will do it to you. So this is how, in fact, the civilization was built. Theatre is a very important instrument in constructing a better, a simpler civilization. Today, we have done exactly the opposite of it. Misusing theatre, we are constructing huge edifices, huge stars, crores and crores of money and black money and whatnot. So, in the post-COVID situation, we should seriously try to revive live theatre as simple as it can get. In fact, theatre, the simpler it gets, the better for it. How simple can theatre get? It can get the simplest when it thinks only of the actor. In fact, in theatre, the 3 components of theatre, as I keep saying everywhere to all my students and to my actors, are the actor, the play, and the audience. Beyond these 3, everything else is extraneous. You can have it, you don't need to have it. You can have sets, you don't need to have sets. You can have an NCPA theatre or a Kamani theatre, you don't need to have an NCPA theatre or a Kamani theatre. The theatre can be done by children, by senior actors, known actors, unknown actors, amateur actors. So essentially when I talk of simplicity, I talk of going back to the actor and then to the play and then to the community. Audience is a community. When you go back to them and start doing theatre, of course, initially you will have a terrible setback. Nobody cares for you. No Times of India will ever write about you, or Hindustan Times will ever write about you. And people will start saying, oh, this man has become, he's gone. That's what they did to Badal Da, for example. Badal Sarkar, in the last 10 years of his life, went on performing in that little park in Calcutta, and people just didn't turn up. It can happen to you, it can happen to me. But then, look at COVID. COVID, for me, is a metaphor. COVID is the silliest thing on earth. As a living organism, it's the smallest organism. It's even smaller than a bacteria. And this silly organism has defeated the biggest army, the biggest economy of all the big countries and of all the big cities. It's amazing that COVID comes from the top and it gets down. Whereas many illnesses used to come from the bottom and go up. COVID has come from big city in China, and then it went to New York, to London, to Delhi, to Bombay. Now, of course, if you let it go, it will also go down and kill ordinary people and the village people as well. So COVID is a metaphor. And theatre people should look at COVID as the alternative. Okay, I will become a COVID. I will become as small as COVID and start operating in a little community where all these big people, all the rascals of the society will not be able to reach me. But I will be with the people, I will be with my language, I will be with my culture, and I will operate. I am absolutely sure. I was not sure 10 years back. I was not sure when Badal Sarkar was trying to do that, and when he died an unhappy man, I thought that maybe it's not possible. But tomorrow, after COVID, either it becomes possible or we perish. I'm making a very, very strong statement. The humanity can only survive if it shrinks to the size of a COVID, small communities, well-knit communities, simple people living in simple surroundings close to nature. If that can happen, fine. We still have a future for humanity. If that cannot happen, I think we are going to perish like the dinosaurs. I may sound very pessimistic, but no, I am very, very optimistic. I feel the time has come for us to actually become theatre people. Theatre is, amongst all the art medium, it's the one medium which is not just intellectual. It is sensuous first. In theatre, you create only two things. An actor just creates two things. The actor constructs the thought of the character and the emotion of the character. If the audience who are watching the play, if they can actually read the thought of the character of Macbeth or Hamlet or Dushyanta or Shakuntala in the actor, they will say, good, you are a natural actor. If you can't see or read the thought and emotion, then they will say, sorry, you are a mechanical actor. I think we should try to become natural actors, which means, we start with the emotion and then reach here. Whereas most other forms start here and then try to reach down to the heart. That's why theatre is called sensuous. We use our body to express ourselves. So it's an amazing medium. Now, how do you construct magic on stage? How do you construct, for example, the character? How do you do characterization? I keep telling actors that you construct it the same way a mason constructs a building or a sculptor constructs a sculpture, like that. Actor is essentially a craftsperson. An actor essentially improves on one's own skill. And after you have become skilled, after using that skill with the co-actors in building the play, the magic happens on its own. This magic is not like something coming from above. The magic of theatre is something amazing. People know that you are an actor and yet they are willing to believe this. So, in fact, Indian theatre or Bharata's Natya Shastra basically tells that acting is skill based. Natya Shastra actually talks of how to convert everything into skills, into a system of work. And we should actually try and perfect that system of work. For example, my guru, Ibrahim Al-Qazi, when I was just in the first year at the National School of Drama, he told a principle. He told it when he was rehearsing a play. I didn't understand it at all that time. He said, do one thing at a time. It's an amazing principle. It's a principle that helps you while you are blocking the play. But it's a principle which can also help you while you are living in society. We all have this confusion of living or doing more than one thing at a time. In fact, the modern world is celebrating this doing many things at a time. You go to a lunch, you're eating lunch, you're talking business, you're flirting with the other girl and doing many things, and you think that you are a great guy. Theatre says, no, do one thing at a time, complete it, and then take up the next task. So, these are the principles. Then there is this other principle about dramatic action. Now, an actor acts, but an actor cannot act because all action on stage is a lie. It doesn't actually happen. You can't actually die on stage. You can't actually fall in love on stage. So every dramatic action is actually a lie. So how do you construct dramatic action? You construct dramatic action by using reaction. Reaction is real, it is natural, it is there. If somebody shows a dirty face at you, you react. If somebody smiles at you, you react. We know how to react. We are masters of reacting. Every human being is a master of reaction. Reaction is tangible, reaction is available, and reaction is wonderful to perform. So what actors do is, by using this principle of one thing at a time, they will construct the before and after of the action through a series of reactions and build it up and finally cheat the audience when the action has to actually happen. When you have to, let us say, stab a person, you don't just go and stab a person. You build it up and use the build up to say the lines, to get angry, to become emotional and all that. And then when the entire audience also is charged, they're also anticipating some danger, you thrust the sword at a point where it doesn't hurt, for example on the side like this. That is theatre. All this is actually very useful in society. Lastly, I want to end up my talk like I always end up any talk is by talking about the educational theatre. Because if we are really thinking of a post-COVID world, that world belongs to children. And children have been taught wrong things by us. Children have been taught to not do actual things. Children have been taught that doing actual things is dirty, it is under your grade and all that. Children have been taught that they can push the button and get a meal, they can push the button and get a job, they can push the button and get the lover or the wife or the husband. So it is the children who need to be told that no, there is a real world. Now the problem for the children or the child is they can't just suddenly go to the real world because they are used to the virtual world. Theatre comes there. You get them into theatre, they will start enjoying the theatre, and before you know, they will start sweeping the floor of the rehearsal hall. Before you know, they will start lifting the sets. Before you know, they will start helping you with the ushering, and before you know, they are actually becoming better human beings even inside their homes. So I would say theatre can become an excellent educational tool to get the child back on the rail, back on the living rail. If we don't do that, we are in any case finished. Because what do you do with millions and millions of children who just are waiting for the button to deliver you your meal, your job, your everything? There are going to be no jobs. There are going to be no meals. There are going to be no big economies. The monster economy, I call it, is dead. The Ambanis and Adanis and so many others who have done wonderful work so far are not going to be effective as they were before. So in a situation like this, when millions and millions of people are going to lose jobs, when millions and millions of people will be desperate and take to violence, to crime and to whatnot, how do you train a child? Can you train the child through a virtual medium like they are trying to do now? By making them mug up through their mobile all the mathematics lessons and the physics lesson and the chemistry lesson? Foolish. They will have to come to something real, something tangible, which is available in their own Bombay, in their own New York, in their own London, and then slowly the first step will lead to the second step will lead to the third step. Maybe they will reach the village. And it is important that they reach the village. It is very important that the city person reaches the village as an equal to the village person. Because with this training and with this background, a city person will go to the villager and say, "Sir, you have those skills which I don't have. But I have some skills in system management. So let me offer the systems management that I know to you with humility, and you please teach me how to till the land or to weave the cloth or to cook a meal or to grow a tree in front of that little hut, or to manage a river or to manage a season, and all that." So finally, I am not suggesting that the city and village fight with each other. Though I feel that the city is a monster, but the people living in the city are not monsters. They have temporarily lost their sense. They know it. I think they're realizing that they've lost their sense. They're gradually trying to come back to reality. And I will end my talk here by saying that let us all concentrate a little bit of our efforts on the educational theatre. Whatever I am, I may be a cinema star, I may be a great director, I may be a group theatre guy or a girl. All of us should spend a little bit of our time and energy on doing children's theatre. All of us should talk about children's theatre. Tell the idiot politician that the child mugging up is foolish and that it should start doing theatre. Thank you very much. Sir, can you share some thoughts on what should inspire people to be connected to the theatre with the same strength? We have to take the first step. We have to become simple and do theatre in little communities, and gradually that community will respond. You may say, "Sir, it's such a big world. How long can I go on connecting with millions and millions of communities?" No. You see, when you feel like going to a little community, there will be millions and millions of actors in whose heads the same idea will have come up. It is like कुकुरमुत्ते. कुकुरमुत्ते आते हैं ना, वो सडनली एक ही दिन हजारों कुकुरमुत्ते आ जाते हैं. किसने उनको क्यों दिया कि एक ही दिन आ जाओ? ये जो नया आइडिया है वो भी कुकुरमुत्ते जैसा है. जब वातावरण बन जाता है, उस वातावरण के वजह से हजारों थिएटर के लोग अपने अपने शहर में अपने अपने छोटे कम्युनिटी में जाके काम करने लगते हैं और कुछ बदलाव आ सकता है. थैंक यू. Jaydev Tevar, sir, what is your thought, influence of international theatre on Indian theatre? I don't want to talk about generalities. If you are talking about the very obvious things that you see as international theatre these days, I hate it. It is too machine made, and too much of technology there, and too much of angst in it, too much of frustration in it, so I don't like it. But I don't want to brush it aside. There are also amazing things happening there. There are amazing things happening in every country. International is what? For me, India is national, the rest of the world is international. For a Mexican, India is international. So let us try and catch up with those people who can be your friends in this struggle and move ahead. And let us not become clustered or claustrophobic by becoming by saying that सिर्फ इंडिया में सब चीजें हैं, बाहर बेवकूफ लोग हैं. सिर्फ इंडिया में हमें भगवान बुद्धि दिया है और बाकी लोगों को मूर्ख बना दिया है. ऐसे नहीं सोचेंगे हम. सब जगह मूर्ख लोग हैं, सब जगह बहुत बुद्धिमान लोग भी हैं. People with awareness, they are there everywhere and we should recognize that. Gideon Ghorpade, has the venue been responsive to Kannada theatre or the content coming from other cities to Bangalore? Bangalore is like any mega city. All mega cities have a tendency to push the indigenous culture out, the indigenous language out, the indigenous theatre out and occupy it. And so I don't want to say anything special about that. Thank you. Aditi Pancholi, during the pandemic, do you see our homes turning into both auditoriums and a performing stage as well? Will it give a boost to more solo acts? Well, that is what we are all trying to celebrate because we are in such a desperate situation. Even little things like, we are saying that families have become better and people are spending more time with their family and all that. Yes, it is true. But also, there are more fights in the families now because they are just kept like in a jail. COVID situation is a special situation. It's an extraordinary situation. Let us not generalize on the basis of this situation. Humanity cannot survive in the COVID situation. Middle class, upper middle class can survive for a little longer because they had a certain amount of surplus. You should remember that 90% of the people in India do not have a surplus. Probably 60 to 70% of the population cannot even live for a week if they don't do a job. Probably some 30-40% of the people will just die even if they don't do a job in 2 days. So it's a very risky situation. Let us not generalize. I think we are handling the situation well. Let's congratulate ourselves for that. But let's wait for better days. Tushar Raman Oza. Some practitioners equate actor to a priest and audience as parishioners. There is divine, your thoughts. Well, actor, I would say, is better than a priest because actor is the medium between God and the audience. When I say God, I mean the magical force. I don't believe in any organized religion. Let me make it very clear. But I do believe in providence, in something big. And actors have been a medium between that something big and the something small, between the magical and the natural. A priest is not. A priest is just a service giver. A priest has been told very precisely which mantra to say and which upavas to do, or which flower to give and all that. And they have made it too much into a ritual. There is no comparison between an actor and a priest. Actor can be better than a priest. An actor can actually be a saint if the actor really decides to go that length. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa actually found Kali Mata in a great actress who came from the prostitute class. For Paramahamsa, that did not matter at all. He touched her feet and said, you have given me my realization today. Jayant Shevtekar, which type of bonding should artists have with theatre community? For a Marathi person, I don't have to tell you. The entire Marathi theatre, whether in Pune or whether in Aurangabad or in Bombay, has always been community driven. It was losing its community. It was getting distracted. We should get back the community. When I say community, I don't mean Brahmins alone or Dalits alone or somebody else alone. No. When I say community, theatre communities have always been an amazing communities. Men and women who don't even know each other will come there and actually behave civilized. That sort of community. Sir, what do you think stand-up acts falls under theatre? It does fall under theatre. In fact, I don't want too much of distinction between theatre and even magicians, tricksters, people who do little things on foot, on the street, do this. I don't think we should make that distinction. Theatre is, of course, much more sophisticated because theatre has a play, theatre has ideas, theatre has greater responsibilities. But in terms of the skill base, we are not very different from a street magician. So we should have the humility to accept that the street magician is as good as me, but we should also say that I have a bigger responsibility, not the bigger pride. Theatre is more about an immersive experience. Isn't it social distancing something inimical to theatre, which brings social distancing is a idiot word. I don't know who coined this word. Social distancing is what Ambedkar tried to eliminate, Gandhiji tried to eliminate, Kabir tried to eliminate, Ramdas tried to eliminate, and we have proudly started saying there should be a social distancing. You need a physical distancing when there is COVID. For heaven's sake, this is not social distancing. Social distancing is what is happening. Even more, I believe in the villages, Dalits are not getting water in the wells in which they were getting water. There are a lot of violence, there's a lot of things happening. I think we should become aware of these things. Social distancing in any case is a bad word. Okay, and thank you very much, and let's meet again some other time.